Hey there, this is One Boom, and if you ask me, EA and DICE made a pretty big mistake by not showing off more of Battlefield 2042 during E3. The fact that we have to wait a whole month, for me, takes away some hype, and now I'm just sort of excited for the trailer instead of hyped for the game. In contrast to that, 343 knocked it out of the park by giving us so much information, it's easy for me to be hyped for Halo Infinite as a game, instead of just excited for more information in the future. So in this video, I want to list the 4 things that I want to see on July 22nd from Battlefield. So let's get into this. The first thing I want to see on July 22nd is a destruction breakdown. I want them to show off their destruction. I want to see buildings crumbling, I want to see rooms being torn apart, I want to see shotguns ripping holes in sheetrock. Battlefield's destruction used to be one of its main selling points, and now it feels like a real big afterthought. So I hope 2042 can change that. I hope we can knock down certain buildings again. I hope we can just have big Levolution events that aren't just tornadoes. The tornado is awesome, I get that, but I hope we see more than just tornadoes. I hope we get to see other Levolution events, like other storms or skyscrapers falling down or something as big as Langkang Dam crumbling. That's what I would love to see. The next thing I want to see on July 22nd is gunplay. I want to deep dive into gunplay and gun customization. I want to see what they're going for. I want them to describe in their own words what they're going for when it comes to gunplay. I want to know if there's random bullet deviation. I want to know if they're worried about having too high or too low of recoil. I want to see how we're going to be able to customize our weapons because, in my opinion, the best AAA weapon design was Modern Warfare in the last 5 years, because you weren't just able to do stat tweaks, you were also changing the feel of the weapon, how light it feels, its view model and its overall aesthetic and the ammunition type that it's firing. You're able to change the feel of a Modern Warfare gun. Is Battlefield just gonna have different size magazines, different grips that do different types of recoil control, different optics, and that's it? Or are we gonna get some, barrels and muzzles and stocks? What are we seeing? I wanna know what we're getting. Is it gonna be better than Battlefield 4? Less confusing than Battlefield 4, hopefully? I wanna know. Going back to destruction, I do wanna see weapon destruction. I wanna be able to shoot walls, and depending on the caliber that my gun is firing, I want it to get different sized holes in walls. I wanna chip away at concrete with a 7.62 LMG, whereas my 9mm pistol shouldn't really be able to do too much to concrete. So please, DICE, let us see what you have going on there. The third thing I want to see is a specialist deep dive. If we're going to have a specialist system and weapons are not going to be linked to classes, I need to see how that works. I want a 5-minute video dedicated to explaining how the class and specialist system works. I think the specialist idea is terrible for a Battlefield game because you're only going to have 12 specialists, but servers are going to have 128 people in them. So that's weird to me. I would love it if I could just make my own soldier and then have my own specialization, but either way, I want to see how this works. I want to see the grappling hook, the wingsuit. I want to know how those tie into the specialist abilities and how often can we use them? Do they have limited quantity? Yada yada. Deep dive, 5-minute video. I don't even have anything to ask for because I don't know enough about it yet. I've seen some YouTubers talk about it. I saw some things on Twitter, but you know what? No, I want DICE to fully break down their new specialist and class system. And the last thing I want to see, the number 4 here, is live service plans. I need to know if you're doing a battle pass that's cool like Halo Infinite's, or one that's shitty like every other battle pass. I want to know what the DLC plans are. I want to know why I'm spending $70. I want to know what your roadmap looks like. Please break down your first year's roadmap before the game comes out, because it's clear that I'm buying into an online-only live service game, so don't even mince words about it. I don't care how big your 7 maps are or how cool they look, you are giving me a multiplayer-only 7-map experience. Tell me what I'm in for. How will contracts work? How will weapons be unlocked? What does your battle pass look like? Do you have one? That's what I need. Because for me to be excited about a Battlefield game or an EA DICE game, I have to see what they're planning for the future. Because my big problem with Battlefront 1 and 2 and Battlefield 5 and Titanfall 2, which I know isn't a DICE project, but it's an EA game, my big problem with them isn't really the gameplay in them themselves, it's how they were dropped like a dirty shirt the moment EA wanted to do something else. So instead of making Battlefront 1 good, work on Battlefront 2, and then spend most of the life cycle of Battlefront 2 making up for the bad launch, and then cut it with Ewoks because we got other stuff to do. And then Battlefield 5, you're going to offer us the entirety of World War II, but instead, you're going to cut development and just leave us on the Pacific Theater and go work on Battlefield 2042. I get that you wanted all hands on deck, but this doesn't explain what you did to Titanfall 2. Like, I'm glad Apex is treating you well, but Titanfall 2 could have been a long-running live service shooter, but your idea of keeping it in the mix is constantly dropping its price to below $5. But that's not working. For Titanfall 2 to be relevant, you would have to, I don't know, take private matches out of beta. I don't know, you might have to actually release content for it. Maps and modes and titans and weapons and new abilities would have made that game grow over time, but it never got to. On the one hand, I like that there's a multiplayer shooter out there that you can buy and not have to just wait for new content on, but it's also nice to be able to wait for new content. Like, I know that Rainbow Six Siege is sort of widely considered to be ruining itself right now, but Rainbow Six Siege came out in 2015 and it's still relevant. So I don't trust EA really when it comes down to it, when it comes to keeping their games going. And I have trouble trusting DICE. I mean, I have trouble trusting 343 and Activision and Sledgehammer as well. But talking about DICE here, Battlefield 4 launched abysmally. Battlefield 3 had technical issues that people don't even think about because of how bad Battlefield 4 was. I will say Battlefield 1 is fairly solid, so I'll just leave that alone. I don't like it, but it wasn't as bad as Battlefield 4 was at launch in terms of bugs or glitches or anything like that. So moving on to Battlefield 5, this game was incredibly buggy, and you kept fucking with the weapon balance for some reason. You could never leave well enough alone until you dropped it like day-old laundry. I don't know why that happened, but it really hurts my excitement for Battlefield 2042. Because if Battlefield 2042 doesn't perform very well, I know that you'll either pull a Battlefield 4 and dedicate its entire life cycle to making it better, or you're going to just drop development on it like it's Battlefield 5, and then just work on the next Battlefield and try to regain the hype later. So I need live service plans. I need to see the specialist and character system and class system. I need to see gunplay and customization. I need a deep dive into how that's going to play out. And then I need to see some destruction. I know that the days of destruction in a Battlefield game being novel is kind of over, but Battlefield should have destruction. I should be able to knock shit over in Battlefield, and I want to see how I can do that. So destruction, gunplay specialists, and live service plans. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and sorry I kind of went on a tangent about EA and DICE there at the end. Really, I'm excited for Battlefield 2042, but I'm more excited to hear more about it than I am for the game itself because of the way they've sort of, separated the information out. But either way, I'll see you when I see you guys. Goodbye.